Analyzing and storing logs. Now logs are very important. Logs are very important for troubleshooting. So analyzing the logs is very important for doing the troubleshooting. If you face any problem in your system, so the best idea is to check the logs first, because whatever happen into our system, it generates the logs. So we should check the logs for the detailed information about the error or any problem which we are facing. So we have a system logging. We have a system logging available in Linux also. So process and the operating system kernel need to be able to record a log of events that happen. So these logs can be useful for what? Auditing and system and troubleshooting problems. So by convention, the var log directory. Under the var, there is a log directory is where these all logs are persistently stored. So when you want to see the logs, all logs are stored into this /var/log directory, and it is persistently. Persistently, that means after reboot also that log files will be there. It will not remove those log files. It will still be there after rebooting. Now a standard logging system based on the syslog protocol is built into Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So syslog is a protocol, and that our basic system logging process is based on this syslog protocol is built into our RHEL 7. Many programs use this system to record events and organize them into log files. So in RHEL 7, syslog messages are handled by two services. First is system general D, and then rsyslog. So these are the two services, and they are managing what our logs in our RHEL 7. First, the system D general D daemon provides an improved log management service that collects messages from the kernel. So this system D general D's job is to collect the messages from kernel and the early stages of the boot process and standard output and error of daemons as they start up and run. And syslog, it writes these messages to structured general of events that by default does not persist between reboot. This allows syslog messages and events which are missed by syslog to be collected in one central database, and the syslog messages are also forwarded by systemd general D to rsyslog for further processing. So this syslog and system general D collects the messages, but they are not persistent. That means when we reboot the system, those messages will be removed. So they will be sent to rsyslog for more processing. Now the rsyslog service then sort the syslog messages by type or facility and priority. Now the message type indicates by the facility. It is also called facility, and the priority. It is having a different priorities. And then what it do? It writes them persistent files in the var log directory. So our syslog service will do what? It will write those logs persistently. Otherwise, the systemd general D and the syslog will not create it will collect the messages, but they are not persistent. Now, under the var log directory, if you see the logs, so there are some logs, which is these are the system logs files which we say. So in the directory holds variety system and service specific log files maintained by the rsyslog. There are some system log files which is called messages. First you will see the messages log, then you will see the secure log, mail log, con log and boot log. Now boot log has the messages related to the system startup and logged here. So when the system starts, so whatever happen into the system, whatever the messages created by the kernel or other services, it is all logged into this boot.log file. Then under the cron file, it will log the related, or it will log the all related periodically executed tasks. That means when we configure any task to be executed in a periodically time, then what? Those logs will be generated under this. It will store into this cron file. It is actually storing the logs belongs to the cron tab job. So whatever the job is configured with the cron tab, it is a periodically job, like we want to run the job tomorrow, day after tomorrow, or some particular date. So we can configure it by using the cron tab, and those job when they run, fails, successful, these logs will be created here. Then mail log, as a name says, it will store all the mails log. That means it will store the mails related to the it stores the log related to the mail servers. So all the logs which is generated by the mail servers will be stored into the mail server mail log. Then the secure log, as a name says, this log file for the log file is for the security and authentication related messages and errors. So when the user successfully access or failed, then what, all the logs related to the security, like it has successfully logged in, or it has done some security problems or security errors, then they will be logged here under the secure log, under this file. Now other than these all things like boot related, cron, mail or secure log, whatever the log generated, whatever the message is generated, the logs go, these messages goes to this messages file. Most syslog messages are logged here, and the exceptions are messages related to authentication and mail processing, because authentication messages will go to secure and mail messages will go to mail log. Then that the periodically run jobs and those which are purely debugging related. So periodically running jobs will go to cron tab, this cron file, and then also debugging will go to boot.log. Other than that, everything will go to messages log. But these are the system logs, but we have more logs than this under the var log directory. These other logs are related to some service specific or some application specific logs are also there. Let's see, for example, so when I list this var log directory, var log, so it shows multiple different logs. Now multiple different logs are there, but the main system logs are these boot.log. Then we have the log for cron jobs, then we have a log for mail, then we have a log for messages, that means all the other messages. We have also the log, separate log for security related. Then other than that, we have the other logs also. These logs are related to other system applications or services. Like for example, for web services, we have this HTTP log directory. Under this, we have all the logs related to HTTP. If we have MariaDB database services installed, so we will have the log here under this directory. We have a logs for Samba, we have a log for SSSD, we have a log for graphical desktop manager, we have a log for Anaconda also, we have a log for different other services or applications also. But the system logs are these, like boot.log, cron, mail log, messages and secure. We have a log for yum also here. Now when we open any log and to see the log, so analyze a syslog entry. So when we analyze the entry, so the syslog, these sys system logs written by the R syslog start with the oldest message on top. So when you open any file, you will see the oldest message on top and the newest message at the end of the file. And all log entries in log file managed by the R syslog are recorded in a standard format. And the following example, as we can see here in the image, this is the example. First, it will show you the date and time of generation. It is showing the timestamp when the log entry was recorded. Then number 2, it shows the host name from which the log message was sent. This is the machine name. So if you are getting the log from the other machines, then you will see the other machine name here. Localhost, this is the default name for our system. Always the default name is localhost. Then number 3, on number 3 you will see the program or the process that sent the log message. So you will see the daemon or service or program name here which is generating the log. Then on the number 4 you will see the actual message sent. That means whatever the message is there, you will see at the number 4. Number 4, like it is saying failed password for student from this date and port this, and this is SSH2. This is the one entry from the secure log, and it will show list. When you use the tail command, we can use the tail command to check. So I will use tail command to see the bottom lines from the log file to see the log entry. So I'll go log and I will try to see the secure log. Now by default it will show me the 10 lines, last 10 lines, and these are the last 10 lines here. Now if I want to see, this is a log file and logs keep generating continuously in a busy server, so we can use this F option also. It will do what? It will show the 10 lines and then you can see it is still waiting for the new log. So when the new log comes, then it will show the new log also. Or I just want to see log, I just want to see the entry for right now, so I will go for a number of lines. I don't want to see the whole 10 lines, I want to see only bottom 2 lines. So just verify the log entry. So I will give -n and 2. Now it is showing last 2 logs here, 2 entries. Now we can see here at the first it shows the date and time here, that the log was generated on this date and time. Then next it is showing the machine name. Then it is showing what? The process or the daemon who is generating the log. And then this is the actual, this is also what the daemon, and this is what the actual message. It is showing no password is available for user, unlocked login key ring. So this is what the log entry we can see. So all the logs are like this. Whether you go to see the secured log, whether you go to see the messages log, all those logs entries are same as this. This is the last 2 lines of the messages log, and here again you can see the date and time. Then it is showing the machine name, then it is showing the service process or daemon, which is system D here, and the actual message. It started session 19 of user root, and then starting session 19 for user root. So this is what the log entries we have. Now when we see the syslogs, so syslog files are having the facility, that means the type, and also the priority. So many program uses the syslog protocol to log events to a system, and each log message is categorized by facility. Facility means the type of message, and a priority. Priority, that means the severity of the message. So the 8 priorities are also standardized and ranked as follows here. That means we have different 8 levels of priorities. So first, suppose if you see the 0, code 0, that means it is emergency priority. That means system is usable. It is just an emergency, but system is it is emergency. That means system is unusable. Now system is getting a problem, a big problem. Now when the code 1, that means the priority level is alert. Alert means action must be taken immediately. That means this is an alert, system is going to be down, it is becoming unusable, you have to take an action. Then 2 means it is critical, it is a critical condition for the system. 3 means error, and this is means non-critical but the error condition. 4 means warning, that means it is just a warning condition, it is warning. Notice, 5 means notice, that means it is the normal but significant event and you have to take note of it. 6 means it is just an information. All the informational event will go by the priority level, priority level 6, code 6, and the priority is what? Info. And debug, 7 means debug, and this is for the debugging level. Debugging level is for the troubleshooting. So when we are doing the troubleshooting, debugging our system, so the messages comes and generated with that. So they will get generated with the priority of debug, and code you will see 7. So when you see the codes, these codes, that means these are the priorities, and these priority means this is the severity of these priority. Now the rsyslog service uses the facility and priority of log messages to determine how to handle them. That means this facility and priority, this decides that how to handle the logs, and this is configured by the file, that is the configuration file for the rsyslog services, and this is under etc. The file name is rsyslog.conf, and by the .conf, star.conf files in rsyslog.d directory. This is the main configuration file which is under the etc directory directly. It is rsyslog.conf, and we have another directory under etc, that is our syslog.d directory, and we can create the custom files here under this directory by the extension of .conf. We can have any name there, but the extension must be .conf. So it will load all the configuration from this directory which is having .conf extension. So administrator can do what? They can directly edit the configuration file, main configuration file, for doing the changes, or if you don't want to edit the main configuration file, then you can create your own custom file under this directory. Basically, the administrators do what? They create their own file under this directory, so that when the system updates, they will it happens sometime when the system updates, they do what? It rewrites these default files, and if they rewrite the default files, that means they maybe remove our old configurations. So to save that, we use administrator do what? They create separate files under these directories. We have both option. We can do directly edit here, or we can create new file under this syslog directory, syslog.d directory. Then programs and administrator can change our syslog.d configuration in a way that will not be overwritten by the updates to our syslog by putting customized file with the .conf extension, the .conf suffix in this our syslog.d directory. So whenever the update happens to the rsyslog protocol, then it will rsyslog service, then it will not rewrite the configuration files which we have added into this directory, that is the custom files. Now under the configuration file, you have the tag rules, and under the rules section, under this it contains the directories that define where log messages are saved. So when you check this rsyslog conf directory, then you, conf file, you will see the section called rules. When in that section it is decided that how and where the logs will go based on the priority and the severity. Based on the severity and facility, where the logs will go and which file they are going to log. So instead of logging syslog messages to a file, they can be printed to the terminals of all logged in users also. So in the default rsyslog conf file, this is done for all messages that have emergency priority. So under the configuration file, there is a rule created under the rules section to print all the messages which is priority having the emergency level. That means it is a critical thing, that means system is going to be unusable. So those logs will directly, it will not go to any file, it will directly go to the terminal of user. That means users are working on the terminal, so the logs messages will directly print it onto the terminal, so that user can see these emergency messages. Other than that, other messages will go to save into different files based on the facility and priority. So it saves into the mail log, then saves into the security, messages and other logs. So for example, let's see the configuration file. So I'm opening the file with vim. This is under etc r syslog.conf, and this is the file. We have a section for modules, so it is loading the modules here. Global directories are there also. These are deciding the directories, and this is deciding here it is deciding that include config file from this directory which has any name, but extension must be .conf. So when you put any configuration file in this directory, it will load because of this option here. Now this is the rules section here, and here it is deciding that where the logs will go. So it is showing here in this side, if you see here, it is what? It is a facility, and this is the priority. So in this side you will see the facility, that means the type of messages, and this side you will see what? The priority. What is the priority of the message? Now what it is showing here in the configuration file, that is star here, first it is a star here, that means any facility, that means any type of message, dot of any priority. Which priority? Info priority. So for any type of messages, info level priority messages, for info level priority will go to this file, and that is why we saw that all the messages goes into this messages file. And then it says here that mail dot none, that means for mail type of messages, like the type of mail messages, no priority, that means no messages will go to this file. Same as for auth-priv, this auth-priv related to the authentication, that means security, and this is also not getting any priority for this file. And then same as for the cron job, this cron type of the messages, no facility is selected, no priority is selected, so they will not print any messages into this file. So where they print the messages, so for auth-priv we can see here for the authentication related messages, any priority will go to this secure file. So the all security related logs or messages goes to this secure file because of this rule. Here for the mail, it is the mail files, mail messages, any priority will go to this mail file, mail log file. Then cron, any priority will go to cron. And this is for the emergency, like any facility, any type of emergency messages, emergency priority messages will print on directly the terminal. Then there is another rules are there, like UUCP news dot critical. These messages will go to spooler, and then local 7 dot any priority will go to boot dot log directory, boot dot log file. So these are the rules which is deciding that which priority and which facility logs will go to which file. Now we want to change, then we can change it, and if we want to change, then we can change it by using the adding the rules here. Like for example, I will add a rule here. Let's say I will say local 7 dot info, that means information related to the local 7 facility, and I will create a new file there under log, and this is my boot underscore or boot I'll say boot info dot log. So I'm saying that any info related message will go to this. Now any will go to this, so the message will go to this also, and I'm also saying that the info related priority will go to this file. So it will create this file for info related messages. Now this rule I have added directly in the configuration file, or we can create, or I'm saving it, we can create the config file under this log.d directory, where we have some other files also created based on the other services. Like this one is already there for listening related. So same as this, we can create our own file and put the rule there. So I have given the rule there to send the info related messages to the new file. Now the file will be created when any new log will be generated. I have mentioned the name called boot info.log. So it is not showing here because it will create that log after when some messages comes. So for example, if I want to check the configuration I have added, like I have added the new rule and I want to test whether the rule is working or not. So I can use this logger command to generate the log message. It will generate the log message, and then we can decide the log facility and priority also, and then we can decide what message I want to send. So logger -p with the facility and the priority, and then message which we want to send. So we have created a new rule for info, local7.info. So I will try to send the log and check that whether the log is reaching that file or not. So here I will use the command logger with -p option. The facility is local 7 and the priority we have decided to info. Then a message, what message you want to give. Testing custom log entry. Now the message I have sent. Now we can check the log file whether the message is reached to the log file or not. So the
Yeah.
we have sent, we can check the log in the file. So we have sent the log, we can check is it reached there or not. So we have sent it and this is what we have sent. We can see it is sent from the local host, it is sent by the root, and this is what we have sent. This is the message we have sent. So it is going to the boot log file, because we have sent it to the facility local 7 and it is storing the log into the boot log files. Now the next thing is log file rotation. What is the log file rotations? Log file rotation do what? It will rotate the log. Now remember, when we have a log file, so it will keep storing the logs and logs and logs, and it can become a big file. So it can become a big file. That means it can become MB file, then it can become a 100 MB, 200 MB file, then it can become 1 GB file. If our system is busy, then it will keep storing the files into logs into logs into logs, and the file can become very big, and it can hold the whole space of our hard disk. Now for saving that, for not to fill up the whole space of the hard disk, we have this log file rotation, and these logs are rotated by the log rotate utility to keep them from filling up the file system containing the var log directory. So when a log file is rotated, it is renamed with the extension indicating the date on which it was rotated, and the old log file may become, like for example the messages will become like messages hyphen, then it will add the number as a date. That means 2014 October 30. That means it is what? It is rotated on October 30, 2014. So once the old log file is rotated, a new log file is created, and the services that writes to it is notified. So it do what? Log rotation do what? It will change the log. The old log file will be renamed with the date, and the new log file will be created with the default name, and the services will be indicated that the log file is this and you have to log into this file. So after a certain number of rotation, typically after 4 weeks, now it will rotate the logs, it will rotate the log and add the extension of date, and after 4 rotations, then what? It will not keep this old log forever, because it is going to fill up the whole disk space, whole file system. So it will not keep the old logs also. So after number of rotation, typically 4 week, the old log files discarded to free the disk space. A cron job runs the log rotate program daily to see if any logs need to be rotated, and most log files are rotated weekly, but log rotates some faster or slower, or when they reach a certain size. So every week they rotate, the log rotate service utility do what? It will rotate the log, and the job run by the cron job. So it checks daily, the cron job is set, and it checks daily the system that which log is need to be rotated. Like after the week it is need to be rotated. And also some log rotate do what? It rotate fast or slow maybe, or maybe it reaches some certain size. So when you see the log directory, you will see some logs already rotated. For example, when we list the var log directory, so we can see here, this is our main messages log, but it is also showing some files with the same name, but it is having the date extension here. It is added the date and in the name, and that means what? It has been rotated. It has been rotated on those date. Until now it has been rotated 4 times. and we can see the date here. It is saying 2021 7 12, then on 20, then on 26, and then on 8 2. So basically after every week it is rotating these logs. Now after 4 rotation, now you can see there is not more than 4 files here, because after 4 rotation it is removing the old files. So when you see maximum, you will see maximum number of 4 files only, rotated files. For anything like secure also you will see maximum of 4 files, because after rotating 4 times, it will do what? It will remove the old file. So it will never create 5 files, because after every 4 rotation it is removing the old files and then creating the new files. So this is log rotation, and it do always the log rotating. It is the job for the cron job is already set. By default it is set to check the log files every day and see when the file reaches a week, then it rotate the files. Then we can find an events with general CTL command also. Remember, the system D general stores logging data in a structured indexed binary files, and this data includes the extra information about the log events. And for syslog events, these can include the facility and priority of the original message also. So we can use this system general CTL command to check the logs which is collected by the system D general D services. Now this is not permanent. That means when you reboot the system, it will remove the old logs and it will create the new logs. So if you want to see, you can run the general CTL command. It will show the full system log general, full system general. And if you want to see a particular last entry, so you can use with -n option, just like the tail command. And to see the particular priority, we can use general CTL with -p option. This will decide the priority, and with suppose I want to see only the error priority file, error priority logs, so it will show me the log related to error priority, and it will show you more detail than the normal syslog files, syslog files. Then general CTL F will do what? It will show the last 10 lines and then continue looking for the new entries. So let's see how it looks. So we can use the general CTL command. So when I run directly without any option, it shows like this, and enter to go next, and press spacebar to turn the page, and it shows all the logs. Entries are same as like we are seeing the messages in messages directory, messages file under the log files, log directory. Now it is added and we want to exit from it, so we can press Q and we are exited from here. Now I don't want to see the whole log, so I want to see only the last 5 lines. So it is showing me the last 5 lines, but it shows me this also. It shows like the logs begins at this Wednesday on this date and this time, and then it ends on this date and this time. It is today's date and today's time because it is showing the logs when I started the system today. So it is showing logs for today when I start the system today. So it is not showing the logs from the previous date, like from tomorrow, because every time when you reboot the system, these logs will clear, and then it will create the new logs when we reboot the system, when we start the system. So it shows the logs which is current log. It is not showing the old logs. It is not persistent. If we want to see the specific log related to specific error, specific priority, so we can use this. Now it is showing only the logs which is having some errors. So this is all the error messages, errors. Then also we can go to see the F option, and this shows the whole logs, and then it waits for the new logs. It is still waiting for the new log, and if I press Ctrl C to close this. Now these logs are not persistent. That means when we reboot the system, it will not store the logs. It will clear the logs. But the servers, these server machines does not reboot every time. If specifically the Linux system, we don't reboot the system very quick daily. It actually, when the server runs, it runs for for days, months, or even a years. So if it is running, then what we can see the logs from the other days also. So if I want to see the logs from other days or since today, so it will show me the only logs since today. It is only the logs of today. But we have already seen the logs of today because it is not having any logs from the previous day. Or even we can see the system is running from a long time, then we can go on to see the logs from for a specific day also, specific day and time. Like I want to see the log since, let's say, 2021 8, and what is the date today? 4, and the time is 18:50, 18:40. From here until, I'm giving same day because we have not available, the logs are not available for the previous days. I will just change the time. So I want to see the logs since this date and time to until this date and time. So if our server is running for days or months or or years, then we can see the logs for a specific day and time also. Now when I enter here, it shows the logs, and actually there is no logs there. I will go back a time here little because there is only today's logs are here. Let's go for 30. Okay, still not having any logs for that days, that time or that date. Basically it is started from here. Okay, so this is how we can run the command to check the specific days or time. Now again, as I said, it shows the logs in detail. In detail, that means it shows the logs in detail. Let's say I want to see the log only error, but I want to see it in detail. So I will give option O, and I will say verbose. I want to see it in verbosely. Verbose, I am giving wrong spelling. Verbose. Now it is showing the error messages, but it is showing in very detail. Very detailed, that means you can see here it is showing the date, UID, ID, then it is showing the boot ID, machine ID, host name, source, transport, syslog facility 0, syslog identifier, kernel, priority level 2, and this is the message. So it shows in detail when you give -O, when you give the verbose option. Now it shows all, but if suppose you want to see a unique one, like for example, I want to see this message, or I want to see only this. So we can go for these values, we can see these values, we can go for these values. Like for example, I will say that PID, I will say general CTL, and I want to check, I want to see only the log which has this PID is equal to 7882, and it shows me only that log which has that PID 7882. Or I can go for the verbose value, so I can go -O and verbose, and it shows me that specific logs in detail. We can also go for other values also, these values. If you want to go more specific, then you can find out these identifier, these attributes also. You can see, you can use to filter the logs with this general CTL. Now again, this general CTL generates the logs, but it is not persistent. So by default, the systemd general is kept in this run log general directory, which means it is cleared when the system reboots. It has in run directory we have all the running things. So when it will clear when the system reboots. So the journal is a new mechanism in Red Hat 7, Red Hat RHEL 7, and for most installation, a detailed journal that starts with the last boot is sufficient. But the journals, the system D journal can be made persistent by creating the directory. So if we want, then we can make it persistent also. So if we want to save it and if we want to make it persistent, then what we can do, we can create a directory first. We can create a directory. We should create a directory first with the mkdir command. Then we will ensure that the directory is owned by the root, user and group system D general, so that it will have an option. It will get the right permission on this directory to create and store the logs. So for doing that, we will do what? We will change the ownership and then also change the permission to 2755. 2755 will do what? It will enable the GID on it, group ID. Then what we'll do? We will ensure the permission is that. Then either we reboot the system or sending the signal for the user root to general CTM to process to required. Like we just send the system or sending the special signal USR1 as a user root to the system D general D process is required. So either we reboot the system or we send the signal this to the general CTL system D general D service. So it will do what? It will start storing the log, the directory which we have created. So this is how we analyze and storing the logs. We can see how the logs are generated and where the logs are generated. We can customize and we can see, and this is very important for troubleshooting and auditing.